Hi, Sandra Barrett here, and I want to tell you a little story of how I became a photographer. Well, I actually was a photographer first through the microscope. I never had, maybe I had a Brownie camera as a kid, but it was only as a scientist that I got into photography because what I was doing was being able to figure out how to tell the difference between normal white blood cells and leukemia white blood cells. And part of that depended on what you could see under the microscope. So here I'm learning about cells, the different kinds, and seeing what they do. And it was totally mind-blowing for someone who only studied chemicals that are isolated crystals in jars. So it took me into another dimension, another way of seeing life. And I'm going to keep this story shorter because I know I will develop it over time. And from photographing cells and then using them to show kids with cancer normal cells and healthy cells, and unhealthy cells rather, I started showing the kids the chemicals that made them up. And one of the reasons I was doing that was one of the questions a little girl asked me when I was taking her to be with her brother when he was going to die in the hospital. Lisa asked me, "Where will my brother go and will it hurt?" And here she's 8 and her brother's 6, and we know he's dying that day. All I could think of at that point, her family was Catholic. That's not my tradition. I didn't know what her spiritual beliefs were to talk to her about God and spirit. But what I could tell her, because I'd shown her in the past, well, after we die, what's left first is our molecules. And look how incredibly beautiful our molecules are. So I started photographing all the molecules of life to tell their story, to show their story. Basically, let's look at vitamins and minerals. What about hormones? And I got into this whole thing of understanding or working to understand how we operate at a cellular sacred being, basically run on molecules. What did the molecules know? A whole other story. What are the messages in the molecules? And can I see patterns through the photography? And yes, there's very interesting patterns. Basically, cells operate by being able to recognize patterns. More science. And what I want to introduce you right now in this time of Libra is beauty. So right behind me, you see a photomicrograph. What do you think it is? What does it look like to you? Some people think it's like butterflies or birds. What it actually is the imprint or the expression of a white wine called Moscato Azul, made by one of the most beautiful, brilliant first women winemakers in the Napa Valley, Heidi Barrett. We share the last name, but that's about all, other than our love for wine. And this was the only white wine she made at the time. I was interviewing her for my Wine's Hidden Beauty because I thought, well, she was famous. She was considered like the goddess of winemaking in Napa Valley, and we shared a last name. If she would spend the time letting me interview her, I'll get some pictures of her wines and so forth. Anyway, I have photographed wines from all over the world, and they all tell a story. And so what I'm going to be offering on this channel, this video channel, is the inside story, inner space, as we go through wine, as we go through taste, as we go through our molecules. What do our hormones show us? So we're going to go into inner space journeys through the beauty and the hidden messages in our molecules. So until the next episode in the story, I invite you to go visit my website, my YouTube channel down below. Leave some comments. I'd love to hear what you think about these images and what they say to you. Feeling very blessed today. Hope you are too. And just imagine what's hidden inside you. What incredible beauty.